Okay, so welcome to how to declutter your pantry and simplified cleaning supplies. Hey, Jean. So I have notes here. Hey, Crystal, I'm going to talk about this real quick. I have notes here. Put in the comments, let me know that you're here. I'm losing my voice now, of course. It's a day. Okay. Hey, Savannah. Okay, so I'm going to start off every video that I do. Hey, guys on Instagram. Hey, Ryan. Hello. I'm losing my voice. Perfect timing. But we're going to talk about decluttering your pantry and simplified cleaning supplies. So every time I do a video or podcast or anything with you guys, I always start with kind of the mindset behind it, right? We talk about like, what's the bigger thing going on here? Like, it's not just a messy pantry. What's really going on? And then I give you action steps. So I'm going to start off by giving you guys some scenarios, giving you guys some things to think about. Put in the comments. Let me know what you think. Oh my gosh, why can't I not talk? Let me know what you think. Let me hear your questions too, because I love answering your guys' questions and it makes it a little bit more interactive than me just talking to myself. But how many times do you go into your pantry and it's full, it has a lot of stuff in it, like you can see a lot of things, but you still have nothing to eat, right? You're like, wow, I have all this food. It's full. It looks like I need to do a lot of organizing it and still nothing to eat, right? Let me know if that's happened to you. And also you are like, okay, I guess we have nothing to eat here in this little pantry. I'm scared of my pantry. You're like, okay, we need food. We need to be able to eat. We have nothing to eat. Hey, Sharma. But in order to get more groceries, you have to throw a bunch of old food away first. Expired food, food that's been open for too long, food that's been sitting there for who knows how long and you just haven't eaten. And so you're like, fine, I guess we'll throw it away to make room for the food that we actually want to eat. Okay. And it ends up being really wasteful. Let me know if you've done that before. Let me know if your pantry is just really overwhelming to you. Let me know if your pantry is not easy for you to use and it's really hard to know what's for dinner every night. And pantry, you can also include your fridge in this, your fridge and your freezer. Maybe it's not easy for you to cook because you can't see what you have. You don't know what you have. You don't know how to use what you have. You bought a bunch of stuff because it was on sale. You bought a bunch of stuff because you're like, I'm going to try and do something different, or I'm going to try and be creative, or I'm going to pretend like I'm the next Chopped champion or the next Food Network star. And that's just not in your DNA and it's never going to happen. Okay. Not that that means you can't cook great meals for your family, but it doesn't have to be 1,000,001 ingredients. Yeah, Crystal, mine is so tiny. And I want to let you guys know that I've had all kinds of pantries. Okay, I've had no pantry where I have to use my kitchen cabinets. I've lived in a 27 by 8-foot RV where I literally had no cabinets, no pantry, nothing. But I was still able to fit a week's worth of food in that tiny little space. So I'm going to tell you guys, and we eat pretty well. Okay, we don't eat like crap. We don't eat like 100% organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, all those things. We don't do that, but we do eat really balanced and really well. I wonder why it's not letting me see the comments. It's like the comments show up and then they disappear. Oh, wait, no, here they are. Okay, so Savannah says, mine is pretty packed with baking stuff that I can't throw away because of past memories of being mad that I didn't have baking powder or whatever when making cupcakes. Okay, that's funny. It's not funny that you're upset about it, but I understand what you're saying, Savannah, and it's funny because I know you. Okay. And stuff like extra barbecue sauce, oatmeal, rice stuff I use, but not every day. Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to give you guys some really good tips. I'm going to give you guys some decluttering tips because that's what everything is about. Okay, but obviously I can't be like, throw away all your food, right? Because we still have to eat. And I'm going to give you a little bit of organizing tips, which I usually don't do, guys. You guys know that I really don't focus on organizing because I'm not good at it and I don't really believe in it. I think that organizing is a trap. It's a trap. Too many things. Okay. So I want to start off by letting you guys know we don't live in the times where we have to hunt and gather all of our food. Okay. So I see a lot of times people are like, well, I got to stock up on food. I got to be prepared. I got to have all this stuff. And yes, that is, if that's your lifestyle, if that's what you want, if that's how you want to do it, do it, I have a class teaching you how to do that called Emergency Preparedness as a Minimalist. It's $14. It's amazing. And it teaches you how to stock up on your food and how to store it and how to make sure that it's food that you'll actually eat and how to actually cycle through it. Okay, it's a great class. I teach you all of it. But you can't do that until you've got a grip on your like daily, weekly, maybe twice a week grocery thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We aren't hunters and gatherers. We really don't need to prepare it like that like we used to. We don't have to stock up for the winter. Okay, we don't have to can. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but we don't have to live like that anymore. Okay, we have grocery stores. We have everything at our fingertips. We have Amazon Pantry. If you live in certain cities, you can literally get it in 2 hours. We have things like Instacart where you can have food delivered to your door. Okay, we have food in abundance. We don't need to be hoarding it anymore, because what happens most of the time when we hoard it, it ends up being wasteful and thrown away and not used. And that defeats the entire purpose of stocking up on your food, right? If you're stocking up just to throw it away, something's not right. And we're going to talk about that today. So we don't live in that time anymore. You don't have to do that. You don't have to think like that. You've got to get a grip on how much food you're actually eating. So you're throwing your money away by going out and buying what you're not going to eat anyway. I'd rather go to the store the least amount of times I can and meal plan. We eat everything in our pantry every few weeks. Yeah, that's fine. If you're eating it all, that's fine. But a lot of people aren't. They're stocking up and they have pantries full of food that they don't eat. They don't like to eat it, or they bought it for one thing and they never use it. And so they have pantries full of food that's literally just going to waste. So you're throwing your money away if that's you, okay? You think you're doing yourself a favor. You think you're going out and buying food at a bulk rate, and then you don't end up eating it, or it expires before you get a chance to eat it because you bought too much and you're throwing your money away. So we're going to talk about some ways that you can make this more efficient, some ways that you can actually have a pantry that works, a pantry full of food that you guys eat and in amounts that you actually eat. And then, like I said, I'm not going to talk about like food storage and how to do that. If you are interested in that, get the class. It's like an hour and a half. It's very in-depth. It's very thorough. Emergency preparedness as a minimalist. When we hang up, I will put it in the comments. So tip number 1 is to buy only the things that your family likes to eat. Okay, so we're going to rewind a little bit. The very first step is to eat what's in your pantry, okay? Go a week of like eating weird combinations of food things so that you actually have an empty pantry, so that you can start from zero, basically. Go through and eat all the packages of things that you bought and were like, I don't really like this, but I have it, so I'm going to eat it, okay? Eat through what you have. And you might find that it actually takes you like 3 weeks, okay? My husband and I have done this before, where we don't go grocery shopping and we just eat what we have until it's gone. And we're like, oh gosh, we got to go to the grocery store. Oh, we got to go to the grocery store. And it ends up that we don't actually have to go to the grocery store for like 2 up to 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah. And it sucks for that week. And it's not probably the most nutritionally balanced week of meals, but with the exception of things like bread and milk, like we won't go get anything. We'll eat what we have and kind of start over so that we can basically purge our pantries and figure out what we actually like to eat, which is how I tell you guys how to do like your wardrobes. Get rid of everything and then add in the things that you like. Get rid of all of your makeup and then add in things that you like. Do the same thing with your food. Eat all of your food in weird combinations and then add back in the things that you actually like to eat. Okay, so that is actually step 1. Hey, Shara. Step 2 is to go out and only buy the things that your family likes to eat. Okay, variety is not required. Okay, we walk into grocery stores with infinite opportunities. Okay, we walk down a cereal aisle with literally like 150 options. We walk down and see like muffin mixes and have like 50 to 75 different options. Hey, Emily, variety is not required. Okay, and you have enough variety to not be eating the same things every day. If you guys have done or gotten a copy of the freebie that I made for you, the simplest meal plan ever, I buy pretty much the same exact things on repeat, but I can switch it up so much that it never feels like we're eating the same thing within like a 2-week span. okay, because we have different spices, we have different combinations, we have different like toppings and dressings and those kinds of things. Okay, it doesn't have to be that it's totally monotonous where you're just eating chicken and rice every meal. That's not what it is. But you don't need to buy so much variety that you don't end up eating it. Okay, and I think that's what a lot of people do. They're like, oh, maybe we should just try a different type of granola bar, which I do sometimes, and then nobody eats it. And then I'm like, they're like, can we get more granola bars? And I'm like, no, you have 2 packages that I have in the pantry that nobody's eating, but it's my fault because I decided to go buy a whole bunch of stuff that, full well knowing what my kids and my family likes to eat and eats regularly. And I feel like I just have to switch it up because the options are there. That doesn't mean I have to take advantage of it. That's my issue. We always eat the same stuff. The girls don't care, but I get tired of it. So Shara, and I'm going to address that. That's actually my next point. If you want to switch it up a little bit, buy just like tiny quantities for yourself. Like most of the time it's the adults who have the problem. The kids are the ones who want to eat the same thing over and over and over again. And if you want something a little bit different, get that in like one small quantity for yourself. Don't go out and buy a whole bunch of it, and don't go out and buy like 10 different things. Okay, get like 1 or 2 different things that you can realistically eat before getting like 10 different things. Because then what happens is that you find your favorites and you eat those favorites and leave everything else. And that's how you get pantries full of stuff that you just don't like to eat. Okay. So buy it in small quantities. That's actually one of the reasons that I like going to one of our local stores. It's, if any local mom, Savannah's on, I like going to like Boise Co-op, which is our local natural health food store. It's a little bit more expensive, but I can get those like single packages of things I want to try. Like I got some little like protein creamer things for my coffee. I don't want to buy a whole big thing of it. I wanted to try it and see if I liked it, to see if I could find a new normal thing that I want to buy consistently. So I'll buy those in like little sample packs, or, like a pack of 4 or whatever, just to see if I like it before I go out and buy a whole ton of it, or before I go out and buy like 10 different options. I try one at a time to see what I like. I buy like 1 peach and 1 plum just for me. My kids only eat red apples, red grapes, and 1 kid eats bananas. Yeah, Jean. And I will do that too. Like nobody in my house likes guacamole or avocados except for me. So I'll buy 2 avocados and that's it. Why do the comments keep disappearing? So that's what we're going to talk about next, is buying in quantities, but I'm going to read Jessica's comment real quick. So I save lots of Facebook recipes and write a list for meals for 7 to 14 days, depending on Hub's paycheck, and only buy those things. Then Costco for lunches and snacks. Save lots of money and time, and I'm not constantly running the store for odds and ends. Yeah. And that's important, Jessica, to plan it, which actually isn't a point that I was going to make on here, but when you go shop, don't ever go grocery shopping without a list, because you're going to end up with a pantry full of stuff that you're not going to eat and that you can't put together. So it takes it takes you a little bit of time, especially in the beginning if you've never done it before, but eventually you get to where you basically have this master grocery list and these master meal plan things that you can put together pretty easily. You know how the food combinations go together. And I know, Jessica, that's something that you're really good at, because you have a large family and you got to do it, right? You got to do it. And I think sometimes it's a little bit easier to be more complacent with it when you have 1 or 2 kids, because you're like, well, it's not such a huge deal. It's not such a big bill, but it still ends up being really wasteful. So plan it. And if you haven't gotten it yet, search the group for the simplest meal plan ever, because I teach you how to make your own master grocery list, how to make your own master meal plan and meal combinations, like food combinations, so that you're not getting bored and you're not wasting your food and your money or your time, right? Hey, Megan. So that's tip 1, buy what your family likes to eat. And if you do want to get some things of variety, get really small quantities, like a sample pack or just a small pack. Or if it's just for you, like I said, usually it's the adult, the mom or the dad, who's like, I need something different besides just apples and grapes. Get it in the quantity, only enough for you. And you can do that at the grocery store. You can pull off some grapes and put it in a bag and be like, this is how many I want. You can pull off 2 bananas and be like, I only want to buy 2 bananas. I don't want to buy a whole bunch of 8. Okay. You can do that. And then, like I said, if you go to some of the smaller local grocery stores, if you have that, a lot of times they do have the really small quantities and you can get them in less quantities. So tip number 3, I guess, because I added another tip at the beginning, is to buy in the quantities that you can realistically eat. Okay. Yeah, Emily says, I just learned that I could pull off some grapes. Yeah, and grapes expire pretty quickly depending on where you live. So it used to be like I would buy grapes or strawberries until I learned that you can keep them in an airtight container and they last a lot longer, but they expire so quickly. I'd like buy them. I'd be like, okay, kids, like this is a week's worth of grapes, but you got to eat it in 2 days. Right. And that's not good. So you can buy only in the quantities that you're going to eat. Okay. Pre-wash and cut stuff now is so much more accessible. Yes, I do that. Opposite, I have to add more grapes because of my kids. Yeah. Yeah. So buy in the quantities that you're realistically going to eat. And so, like I said at the beginning of this video, if you're just jumping on, go through and eat everything in your pantry. You're going to have a week, maybe even 3 weeks where you're eating these weird combinations of food and you're like over it, but you need to be able to gauge how much your family actually eats. And these are tips from my grandma who did the class Emergency Preparedness as a Minimalist. I learned everything from her. Like I said, if you want to learn how to do food storage, like long-term, like 3 to 6 months to a year, they had up to 5 years for some of their stuff. You can get into that class and learn how to do it, but that's not what we're talking about today. She recommends before you even try to implement a food storage system or going out and buying in advance or buying in quantities to have in the future in case of an emergency, you need to start with zero, start with nothing, and figure out how much your family actually eats in a week, because it's likely a lot less than you think. Okay, so we're really used to, like I said, we aren't hunters and gatherers anymore. We have infinite amounts of food available to us from grocery stores, Instacart, Amazon Pantry, literally anywhere you can go and get food, and you don't need to stock up on like it. And so we're used to having massive amounts in our pantries and massive amounts in our fridges, and it ends up going to waste because we don't even know how much food we actually eat in a week. So start with zero and experiment with it, okay? Get a bare pantry and go out and meal plan, figure out what you actually want to eat for the week for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and include snacks, and go out and buy just that and eat it all for the week. If you guys want an example of what this looks like, if you go onto Instagram, there's a girl named the LA Minimalist, and she grocery shops once a week. She's not a mom, so it's kind of unrelatable, but you can absolutely do it in your mom life. And I've actually been experimenting with it. I haven't told you guys about it yet because I want to see how it goes first. But I'm starting this thing where I only am allowed to go to the grocery store on Fridays, on Fridays once a week, and I get everything that I need for the week. And I have to use what we have before I go get more. And it's been really efficient. Okay, we actually have been eating much better than we usually do because I'm so intentional about buying the amounts that we need and portioning it out and making sure that I'm not buying what we don't need. And because we don't have a whole lot of excess, we're not wasting a bunch. Jean says, I shop once a week, no time to shop during the week. Anyway, it's totally possible. Yeah, and it's so efficient because it makes you be intentional. It makes you plan. And there's a lot of truth in, having too many options and having too much accessibility that we take advantage of it and consume way too much, and it ends up being really wasteful. So you really need to get an idea of how much your family is actually eating a week. Okay, what they're actually eating. It's hard to tell when you have a pantry that is just jam-packed, way too full, and they're eating and eating and eating, and you're like, okay, I don't really know what they ate or how much they ate or what's left or what we need or what we don't need or what they're not eating. Okay, it's hard to tell if you have a very cluttered, full pantry. So get a grip on that. Get a really clear picture and measurement of what you're actually eating every week, or if you do it based on pay periods, every 2 weeks or every month, however often you get paid, however that works for your family. Sorry guys, my hair is driving me crazy. However that works for your family and your paychecks. And then once you know that, then you can go out and buy in bulk, and then you can go out and start to store things like rice and beans and Hey Mara on Instagram. I'm on like 3 different platforms right now. But then you can go out and start to stock up. Okay, then you can go out and start to be like, okay, so I would like to make it so that if we lost our job, we would be able to survive on our food storage for 3 months. And I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I buy in advance, just in case. But what happens like when things like a hurricane happen and then the grocery stores are cleared out? Are people really as prepared as they think they are because they're going out and buying food all the time? They're not. Okay, they have a lot of food, but they don't know what it is, and it's not sustainable. It's not something that's going to keep them safe in the event of an emergency. Okay, they're still like, crap, I don't have bread. Crap, I don't have this or this or this or this. So once you get a grip on what your family's actually eating and how much, then you can start to shop in bulk. Then you can start to stock up. And these are tips from my grandma, guys. Okay, so, and she was like the pro. Like I said, one time she had 5 kids, 5 young children, and didn't step into a grocery store for 6 weeks because she was like, I know what we eat. I can stock it up on it. I can freeze our meat. I can freeze our vegetables. And I think they did things like powdered milk, which I think is gross, but they didn't even go to the store for milk. I have a hurricane heading right at me this week. I think we'll make it food-wise if I do the weird combo trick. Yeah. But Jean, I remember in Florida, like anytime when we lived in Florida, anytime the hurricane was on the news, it was like the grocery stores were cleared out. Okay. And we want to be prepared. We think that we are, but it's like this false sense of security because we don't even know what's in our pantries. So you got to start from zero and you got to get really intentional. You got to pay a lot of attention to it. And then it gets to like second nature, to where you can be like Jessica, who's like, I know what I need to get. I know what we eat. I'm going to eat it all. And then we're going to go get more. Okay. So that's kind of food storage. Like I said, guys, emergency preparedness as a minimalist. I'll put it in the comments when we hang up, but it's a really great class. It teaches you all of this. It teaches you my best tips and tricks from my grandma, who was like the food storage expert. And you can learn it all for yourself. But like I said, it's like an hour-and-a-half class long, hour-and-a-half long class, and I don't have time to tell you all that today. So that's kind of how you figure out what you need, how much you need, how to clear out what you have. And here are just some really quick storage tips that my grandma told me. So make sure that you have airtight containers, because if you don't have airtight containers, it's a waste of your time because you're going to store the food and it's going to go to waste. It's going to spoil before you can eat it. Okay. Use clear storage for things that you're using like within the next week to a month, so that you can see how much is in it, so that you know when you need to stock it up. So things like flour, sugar, oats, whatever else. Make sure that it's in a clear container. It can be plastic, it can be glass, it can be whatever you want, but having it clear for the stuff that you're using like on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis in your actual pantry, your workable pantry, not your food storage pantry. Make sure that it's clear so that you know what you need. Okay. You're not going to like be making something and go into your pantry thinking that you have baking powder and you don't, right? So yeah. Okay. Eliminate as many packages as possible. So like plastic bags, things like, a lot of times things like pancake mix comes in like this big ugly plastic bag. Put it into a container. Okay, either plastic or glass. It's just easier to store. And one of the organizational tips that I have for you guys always in any area of your house are not like fancy, circular, stackable, blah, 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 anything. It's like a really basic, rectangular, shallow thing to put in and out, in and out. And I know the fingers are like, what are you talking about? Shallow, rectangular bins that go side by side. They fit on the shelves. You don't have to worry about like making this complicated puzzle. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to access in your pantry. And you can put things like granola bars, chips, like the things that come in packages for kids, like the Go-Go Squeeze. You can put them into those rectangular bins instead of like the awkward multiple shaped sized packages that they come in. You can just have your rectangular bins and be like, here are the snacks that you can have in the morning, or here are the snacks that you can have after school, or here are the snacks for your lunchbox, and you can just make it like grab and go. That's really all I would suggest, is like small rectangular bins. Don't get any of the weird like stackable at an angle wire, blah, 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 unless it's for cans. But anyway, Jessica says, we eat a whole box of pancakes when we make them. Yeah, so Jessica doesn't need that. Okay, Jessica has a really a big family. So, so any questions about pantries or storage or what to have or what to keep? Put it in the comments because I want to answer it. I love it when you guys interact. So it's not just me talking to myself. Okay, that's not fun. Okay, that's all I have for you on the pantry. Use up what you have. Have a weird week of like mismatched meals. Try to get fancy. You can actually play like, hey, this week is chopped week. Okay, we're going to have all the weirdest ingredients and see what we can make, right? Make it fun. Okay, so let's talk about cleaning supplies because this is something that you guys asked for all the time. I keep the snacks in the box in our pantry. Always seems full. Jessica, that's a really good point. So, and if your kids are like any sort of normal kid or kids like mine, they will eat the last thing in the box and then put the empty box back. And then I'm like, oh, wow, they still have this. And then I go to pack it for them and it's empty. Okay, yeah. And yeah, post your pictures up in the group. So that should be, I want to see everybody's too. Because honestly, guys, like pantry organization really is not my strong point. And so that's why I've been putting off talking to you guys about this because I'm like, I'm not good at it. I've only told you guys like what I do or have done. Okay, so let's talk about cleaning supplies because a lot of you guys ask about cleaning supplies, like what do I need? And all of my cleaning supplies fit in the smallest cabinet in my kitchen. If you guys saw the post I did a while back, I used to keep them in a little fabric bin under my kitchen sink. And my baby is like a Houdini baby, and she knows how to get through the baby latches. She's not even a year old, and she can get through the latches. So I moved them up high. So these are the cleaning supplies that I have, and the cleaning, whatever you want, cleaning solutions. I don't know, whatever the soaps that I have. I have an all-purpose cleaner. All-purpose cleaner. I use Thieves from Young Living because it's a concentrate. And I can fill up a spray bottle. I can put a cap full of it in the spray bottle, and I can use it on all my surfaces. I use it for everything. I use it for dusting. I use it for my kitchen. I use it for my bathroom. I use it to mop. I use it for my windows. I don't know if it's supposed to be used on all those things, but guess what? I don't have to go out and buy 15 different types of cleaners. I can just use that. If I don't have Thieves, I use Mrs. Meyer's all-purpose cleaner because I can do the same thing. I can put a cap full of it in a spray bottle. I can fill it up and I can use it on literally every surface. Okay, I don't want to buy glass cleaner and toilet cleaner and window cleaner and whatever other kind of cleaners there are. I use all-purpose cleaner on everything because it's really freaking simple and I don't want a billion bottles in my house. I do have the car wipes, like Armor All wipes for my car, because I do wash my car once a week. And then I have dish soap. I don't stock up on these things, guys. I don't buy 5 bottles of dish soap. I buy 1 bottle of dish soap, and when it's almost empty, I know that I need to go buy more. Okay, because I don't believe in, this is just my personal opinion. You guys can do what you want. It's your life. But for me personally, I don't like having a sink that has 5 different bottles of soap up in it. Okay, I'm not going to use those. I mean, I will eventually, but I don't like it. I know that I will always have $2 to $4 to go buy another bottle of soap. And I know that I could literally walk to the store to go get it if it was actually an emergency. So I don't like to live in that life where I'm like, oh, I got to have 18 things on hand. And I don't do it with laundry soap or dishwasher soap. I just have 1 thing of laundry soap, and I know that when I'm down to just a few loads, I'll go buy more. And it keeps it really simple for me. Okay, so if you want to stock up on it, you do that. But I personally find it really hard to juggle and keep track of what I actually have and what I need if I have too much. So I don't do that. I just buy it when I need it, and that's it. So I have dish soap and dishwasher tablets. Then I have laundry soap and dryer sheets. I have a tile scrubber, and I use the all-purpose cleaner. for that, I just make it a little bit more heavy on the cleaner. I have carpet cleaner because I do have a dog, and he's kind of messy, and I also have kids, so I do cleaner, especially when she starts potty training, right? Then I have rags, and then I have a mop, and then I have a vacuum. And I do have a broom and a dustpan, but I only use that in the garage. I use my vacuum to clean my kitchen floors and my hard floors. So that's it. I personally don't think you need to buy and stock up on all the soaps, all the different kinds of soaps, all the different kinds of cleaners. Stocking up is fine. Like I said, if you want to do that, do it. I just personally don't. I think it's too hard for me to manage and makes my life harder, not easier. It's easier for me to just be like, okay, I got to go to the grocery store, putting soap on my list. And I personally don't think that I need a bunch of different kinds of cleaners. I am totally fine personally using all-purpose cleaner in every area of my house, okay? I am okay with that. I am at peace with that. So any questions about cleaners or tools? All of my cleaners, like I said, for the entire house, other than the laundry soap, because obviously I keep that in the laundry room, they fit into that one tiny cabinet in my kitchen. And they used to go under my sink in that little fabric bin. But like I said, baby can get into things, and I just don't want her getting into it. So any questions, any comments, any thoughts about it before I hang up? I don't think so. So I'm going to hang up on the podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. And if you are interested in that class, check the link below this recording.